Joe Grushkin. I'm the founder of the National Association of Local Businesses, and I'm here with Todd Rowe, the president and founder of BitX Funding, and he is an expert in the funding world, and he's going to share some tips with you about these business loans that the SBA and the government are subsidizing. So, Todd, thank you so much for being with us tonight. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, Joe. And what a crazy world we're in right now.
Well, it's bizarro world, isn't it?
Oh, very bizarre.
Well, this is good for your business because a lot of people are realizing that, that rainy day fund isn't really as big as it should have been. And at this point, it's time to get some cash flow in. And with the government doing what they're doing, and hey, it's amazing how all of a sudden they came up with, $6 trillion to make sure that all these small businesses and employees and families are going to be taken care of during this shutdown, which is unprecedented in history. It's really going to make a big difference for all of us.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. I mean, for the Treasury Department and the government to get together and find these funds and put them out there in the marketplace is critical for small business owners, especially your Main Street businesses that have been shuttered. Especially in disaster areas such as Connecticut or the New York metropolitan area or California, Washington, wherever you are, and your business is essentially closed, the government wants to see you get to reopen it and to pay your employees and to support you with your rent and to support you with your utilities. So they're pulling out all the stops to help out the small business owner.
Todd, tell us about your business. Before we go into all the details of the programs they're offering, tell us about your business and what's the unique offering that you guys bring to the industry.
Yeah, so BitX Funding, we're a marketplace for small business loans. So we do everything from SBA loans to different type of term loans, lines of credit. We're really big in equipment financing as well. And we also do some other different type of alternative loans that will support you in these trying times when your cash flow may be broken, but you're still creditworthy and you still need access to funds today. So small business owners come to us for a frictionless process to get access to funds. So we have all the banks and we have the process and procedure all baked out. So if you need help and support, that's what we're here for.
Total transparency to our audience. Todd and I have been friends for a long time. We met through business. I've actually used his service for building some of the funding for my business. And more importantly, he is a premier provider for the National Association of Local Businesses, one of the 100 products that we offer to business owners so they can get better services, save money, get promoted, and get found online. So Todd, we appreciate all you do for all of our clients, and more importantly, what you're doing for everybody in this tough time. So let's kind of drill into some of the issues at hand, because there's a lot of questions business owners like us. I always tell people, if you're going to explain something to me, explain it like I'm in second grade, because that's my capacity right now. But and as I get older, it gets lower and lower. I'm going to be first grade in a couple of years. But let's talk about the disaster relief program and what that means, because that's available to business owners currently, right?
That's right. So this is all getting wrapped up under the CARES Act. And so business owners need to know their credit score, which is important because credit is still going to be a part of the decider. You also want to know your financials. Are your financials in good shape? Are you profitable? Because the SBA and the government want to know one thing: will you pay me back, and do you have the means to pay me back? Now, some of the parts of the loan may be forgivable, which we can get into the details if you reach out to Joe or I down the road. But the crux of it is you have two different loans. You have the PPP and then you have the disaster loan. With the disaster loan, you're looking at up to $25,000 unsecured. Anything over $25,000, you're going to need to secure it. It will be a working capital loan to support you. and it's going to be run through the SBA. And so you can imagine the SBA is overwhelmed right now. They didn't see this coming. They don't have the support staff in place. So be patient. Put your application in. If you need support with how to put your application in, you can always reach out. So that's the what we call the EIDL loan. And then the other is the PPP.
Before we go on to the payroll, I filled out the SBA loan this morning. It took about 15 minutes.
Right.
I had to figure out a couple of math things and what they were, numbers, but it was a very simple process. It was only 5 sections to fill out: name, rank, serial number, all that good stuff. And I don't know if the loan was approved yet, but when you put in the SBA loan, you're automatically going to get a $10,000 advance, whether you're approved or not. And based on that, from what I understand, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that if you're not approved is a forgivable loan. And if it is approved, it's rolled into the amount that they lent you. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, that's the guidance we're getting right now, but more is to come out over the coming week, because they have 30 days to write in all the little nuances. So, but their goal is to get 10,000 out to all small business owners that have applied as fast as they can and as seamless as they can to support you, the business owner, to keep your people on payroll and to keep your doors open.
And from what I understand, that's going to be a direct deposit because they asked for my banking information to make that direct deposit.
That's right.
So I experienced it myself. I saw it work, and I'm impressed with how quickly that was available. And this was developed because of the hurricanes and this is the disaster relief process. So they just repurposed it for this and made it so that anybody can apply if they have a viable business at this time.
Yeah, it's a combination SBA FEMA.
Right. So the payroll protection program, the PPP you called it, the payroll protection program, how does that work? And what is the forgivable portion of that?
Yeah, so that is going to be based upon your utilities, your rent, and your payroll. And they're going to add up all that together and then multiply it by, let's say, 6 months, and then take it by another multiplier, 2.5%, and that's your loan. And then the details of the term and I think the interest rate's going to be around 4%. A lot of those fine details are still coming out, and the banks don't know yet, but we'll know by the end of the week. But pretty much your bank is going to be the person you're going to want to reach out to, because the banks are going to be processing all these loan applications. So if you bank with, say, Bank of America, that's where you're going to want to go. Or you want to reach out to your business banker. And they're all going to be getting trained over the coming week. So give them a moment to, get around all the details.
I called Bank of America as my bank, and I called them today, and they said that they won't have the information until Friday. Today is March 30th, so Friday will be April 3rd. So on April 3rd, they should have the information, and applications are supposed to be available then. I heard an interview with Connecticut's Senator Blumenthal and the regional director of the SBA for the Northeast. And they were both saying the same thing, that the SBA loans are available now. Supposedly, once you're approved, you get 3 days, they fund you with the 10,000, and then they calculate what your loan would be. And then the payroll protection will be, again, up to the end of June for payroll, and then the multiplier of 2.5 times. And that's to give you then that's all forgiven. Or the payroll portion is all forgiven. Payroll portion is all forgiven, so that if you had $10,000 in payroll over the 6 months, that's $60,000. If you took $60,000 in total, then the whole loan is forgiven at the end of the 6 months if you kept your employees employed.
That's right. It's all about keeping your doors open and keeping your employees employed, and then taking them off of unemployment and getting them back to work. And I also want to say that, again, as you say, it's an unsecured loan. So there's no personal guarantee, which is a plus.
Right. Now, about credit, you said credit worthiness earlier on the disaster relief loan. Could a business owner who has, let's say, weak credit get a cosigner to help secure the loan, and then part of that loan is then forgiven? The disaster relief would also be forgiven, wouldn't it?
All I know right now is if all owners of 20% or more have to come on the note for both programs. I don't know the answer to an outside cosigner at this moment. That's to be seen.
So you couldn't get it because there's no personal guarantee. You're not getting a cosigner won't flow.
Don't know. I mean, that's a tricky question.
Interesting. Okay.
Let's wait on the details.
Yeah. So what do you figure the credit rating would need to be to make this happen? What's your best guess say?
Best guess is let's say 650 or FICO score above. Try not to have garnished or judgments or foreclosures or bankruptcies, because at the end of the day, the $1,000,000 question is, will you pay me back on the portion that's not unforgiven or the portion that's required to be paid back?
Now, on the disaster relief, is there a portion that would be forgiven, or is that a term?
No, the disaster relief, the original loan of anything over $25,000, you have to secure it.
Got it. So if you take 25 grand in the disaster relief, it's unsecured and you don't have to pay it back.
No, you do.
Okay, you do. Okay.
Yeah, so you got to be careful here. There's two different programs, and that's why you're going to need guidance to get through these two different loans. And what are the impacts based upon if-then scenarios?
Got it. Todd, any points that you have on business owners can do to kind of come out of this stronger? I mean, yes, put the applications in. Yes, do your due diligence. Yes, talk to advisors like yourself. What can a business owner do to come out of this stronger?
Just, get back to work. We're all in this together. Open your doors, start business, and put your employees back to work. The government's doing everything they can to provide you liquidity. So take advantage of that liquidity. And if I can help or Joe can help, we're here for you. We provide additional funding through our alternative sources. So if you're going to wait for the SBA loan, which could take, say, 2 months, 3 months before you see that money, we can give you that gap funding that you're looking for. So, and we look forward to helping everyone.
Great. Well, Todd, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming out and talking to our audiences, on your social media, on my social media, and more importantly, helping a lot of small businesses with them. A very confusing, but I think ultimately a very beneficial program that we're all going to not only come through this, help us through it, but come out a lot stronger. So if you need more information about the National Association of Local Businesses, go right there to that website and check it out. There's over 100 top quality products and services at discounted pricing, one of which is our funding solution through Todd and his business, BitX Funding. And if you want more information about any of our products or services, we'll be happy to assist you. So on behalf of Todd Rowe and myself, Joe Grushkin, I want to thank you all for being here. Have a great night. Stay strong, stay positive, stay well, and most importantly, we'll come out of this stronger. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.